Red Challenge Splash Pit.
No.
See, Black Tie, you had to ruin it. See, why do you have to be a soloist? That's not the bit.
Thorough.
He switched all my mics off as well.
All right, here's how we do it, Harmon. In case you aren't familiar, it's unnecessarily complicated. I'm going to ask one of you for your pick in one of the Week 13 NFL contests. You tell me who you think the winner is, with no explanation why. If the person seated next to you decides to challenge that, they can throw the red challenge flag. See? Perfect. There's no reason for that.
Yeah,
you could just say, I take this team, I take that team, and that could be that. But instead, we throw red challenge flags at each other. Let's start it off. All these games, playoff, relevant. The Seattle Seahawks at the Minnesota Vikings. Matt Harmon, choose.
I'm going Seattle.
Handsome Hank, I'll say.
Dave, you're going to enjoy this because straight away I'm pulling out a red flag.
All right. Explain yourself, Handsome.
My belief is that the Minnesota Vikings right now, they can smell blood in the water, and I think they'll be able to possibly even smell it even more. We're recording this on Thursday morning. We've got a Lions-Packers game later on today. If the Packers lose tonight, and I think there's a chance that might happen, the Vikings will be able to smell blood in the water. They need that win to increase the lead in the NFC North. They're playing pretty well at the moment anyway. Seahawks coming to town. They had obviously a great game against your Steelers last weekend, but I fancy the Vikings to win.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't call that a great performance against the Steelers. That defense, once again. They pulled it out. In a must-win, they got the well. Although I always say there's no such thing as a must-win unless your season ends if you lose. But this was as close as it gets for those Seahawks, and they did, for better or worse, pull it out. But no Jimmy Graham now, and that weird adjustment that was never a fit all season long. Everybody sort of felt that, and now you still have that diminished offensive line, and you've removed the pass catcher. Can Doug Baldwin and Jermaine Kearse continue to be what they were against the Steelers' shoddy secondary? I don't know. The other question is Minnesota, to your point about the Lions and Packers game, and the Lions are playing very well. I wouldn't be surprised if they did beat the Packers on Thursday night. Is that better for the Vikings mentality or worse? Do they want to see, wow, well, we have a cushion. We can lose this game.
No, I don't think that's the way it works.
I always like desperation. I want my team as desperate as I can get them, and they won't be as desperate if the Packers lose. Harmon.
Yeah, I went with Seattle mostly because, and I think you bring up some good points, especially about the blood in the water thing, but with the Vikings, their best asset on offense is Adrian Peterson, and we've heard a lot this season about how the defense in Seattle has crumbled, and I think that's true in the back end. I think the secondary is not playing well, but up front, they're still stopping the run well, so I think they can at least keep Peterson at bay, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on Teddy Bridgewater, who's played, I think we can all agree, average at best. And in a group of pass catchers, it basically has Stephon Diggs, who's come back a little bit as teams have started to pay more attention to him, and Kyle Rudolph, who's only really played well the last 2 games. So I don't know how they're going to exploit the weaknesses in the back end, especially if Sherman covers Diggs a lot. I think he can take him away. And Mike Wallace has put up goose eggs in fantasy a couple games, so I struggle to see how they're going to score enough points to keep up with Wilson.
A Twitter follower, I think his name is at Steve Springer, and I apologize if I got that wrong off the top of my head, tweeted at me that side by side, Russell Wilson's numbers are in fact better than Cam Newton's. Of course, Cam Newton is undefeated, and Russell Wilson is struggling to get to 500. Nevertheless, this is a game. This is it. This is the first game of the season. There's no Marshawn Lynch, and there's no hope of Marshawn Lynch anytime soon. There's no Jimmy Graham. It is, like I say, it's Baldwin, it's Kearse, it's a shaky offensive line, and it's Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson is deserving of this, he's going to have to, if he carries this team to the playoffs now, given these circumstances, the defense has fallen back a little bit, then he is worthy of all the praise that people want to give him. By the way, he's worthy of it either way. He's been in the last 2 Super Bowls, so people who like to shout about how he's overrated are reaching to say something about
Celebrity quarterback, as he's now being referred to.
I
don't know what that means.
I kind of get it with the Sierra thing. People like talking about that kind of stuff. It dates back to Memo Paris in The Natural.
Black Tie started on.
I like his.
I don't
his
support
opinion.
that relationship because Russell's way too into it.
And also, you're in love with Russell Wilson, so you're jealous of Sierra.
I was a little jealous.
Maybe.